All right, so we met Allie last year. It was her first year at Real Estate Rockstars. We were introduced through Shelby. Allie is a complete badass. She is a veteran. Thank you for your service. She has been in the business about 2 years, and last year she spoke, and I was just blown away. Like, I'm not a systemized person. I leverage all of that to somebody way smarter than me. And when she started doing numbers and this and that, I was just like, oh my gosh, this chick has it going on. So she's awesome.
So if you have any questions about data tracking, all that stuff, she can help you. But today she is talking about how she made $200,000 through outbound referrals.
Yeah, she did.
That is insane. I was one of those outbound referrals, and she was so great with her follow-up and everything. So there definitely is some magic to what she's doing. So get ready for Allie.
Yeah.
Perfect. What's up, everyone? Allie Garced, or Allie the Agent on all social media. I'm on the gram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on everything. And if you have any questions, so the first half is gonna be why I became an outbound referral agent. And the second half is gonna go into a little bit more tactical, a little bit of math, but not too much, because I've been trying to talk to Sarah about some math and tracking. She has been avoiding me. So I don't wanna go like too deep in the weeds with math or numbers or anything like that, but I can one-on-one in case you guys want. But please, I do wanna answer all the questions that you guys have. I've already been getting questions before I even like sit on the stage here. So, and I feel like I know at least half, maybe even 3/4 of the room here. So I'm gonna be dropping F-bombs because that's who I am. And for those that I haven't met yet, I really wanna get to know you. So if you have questions, let's chat after. Let's chat during lunch or anything like that. Okay, how do I do the next slide? There we go. Okay, this is me. It looks like I'm in Tucson, Arizona, but that's actually Afghanistan, kind of the same landscape. I was a special agent for the Air Force Office of Special Investigations for a decade. I separated as a major, and I was like living an okay life, you know? I traveled a bunch. I went to 20 different countries while I was in service, like related to my actual work. I worked like in general crimes, counterintelligence, fraud, all that. Sounds really cool. And in case you guys have never heard of OSI, it's the same thing as NCIS, but for the Air Force. So I worked felony level crimes, and we worked a lot. But I was like, hey, I'm making $120K. I'm good. You know, I got health benefits. I'm gonna get a pension if I stay in for 10 more years. But the negative side of that is, this was actually, I have a smile on my face with these like behind these ugly sunglasses that were given to me by the Air Force. But I was depressed, and I couldn't hold a relationship because I was moving with the Air Force every year and a half. And it was too much. I got to travel to 20 countries. 18 of them I traveled to alone. And it started to weigh on me. So the total time away while I was active duty was 4 years. 4 years out of the 10 years that I was active duty was away from the city and state. A lot of times I was away from the US. And I started getting over it really quick. And I told people that I was gonna be separating. I was like, you know what? 10 years, I did my time. I did my 4-year ROTC scholarship commitment. I'm out of here. And everyone, bless you. And everyone was like, but you just have 10 more years and then you can have a pension for life. And I'm like, dude, that's 10 more fucking years. What? Like, I'm only halfway. Hello, have you heard of the sunk cost fallacy? You know, like, just because I've done 10 years doesn't mean I'm gonna do another 10. So I did the math. I won't be doing the math here, but I did the breakdown of how much can I make as an agent, which I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but I knew at that point, I was like, I'm not gonna stay in. I am leaving. Like, I need a better quality of life. Yes, I can have a pension every single month for the rest of my fucking life. Not worth it. And my light bulb moment was, I was an interim commander, and I was in Tucson, and they needed me in somewhere fucking like bumblefuck North Dakota. So they were like, hey, like the commander left. I don't even want to get into that. But this unit needs morale. we need you there. We need to finish up the murder-suicide case that just happened, and can you go? It's during Thanksgiving. You're gonna be missing Thanksgiving. Of course, that's obvious. And then right after that, from North Dakota, we want you to go from there to Aruba and Curacao. Sounds great. Again, I'm traveling alone, guys. Anyway, don't pity me. So I was like, okay, that's normal. You know, I'm used to spending 200 days out of the year away. I was like, okay. At that point, I figured maybe I'd do another 10 years, maybe still. I wasn't like really set on leaving, but I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go. You need me? That's what I signed up for. I signed up for the Air Force. It was volunteer. So I went to North Dakota, and this was, again, like a little bit, I was gonna spend a month or two there, and we're getting close to Thanksgiving. This is the first Thanksgiving of COVID, and none of us can be in the office at the same time, because if we're all out, then who the hell is going to run this murder-suicide case? Who's going to run the rest of the cases? We're on the border of Canada and CI stuff there, counterintelligence. And I'm packing up, like I'm wrapping up my month-ish there what city was it? Somewhere in North Dakota. North Dakota. Who is from North Dakota here? I feel bad. Excellent. Let me keep trashing it. All right, cool. Wherever the hell I am in North Dakota, I was like, okay, the day of Thanksgiving, I was supposed to fly out the next day to go through New York, because that was the only spot at the time during COVID where you can go from New York to Aruba, from there to go to Curacao, because I was going to be the interim commander there for counterintelligence with the Dutch. And so it's literally Thanksgiving Day, and I am told, even though I'm supposed to boost morale for this crew that just got like squashed by this murder-suicide case, they were working like 48 hours at a time, like consecutively. I'm here to boost morale, and then I'm here to bounce and say, you guys are good, you guys can hold it down. And I'm like, okay, great, I want to do something for Thanksgiving. Like, it's a holiday, it's COVID. North Dakota does not even realize that COVID is going on anyway. All the malls are open, like, they were on some other shit. I was like, let's do a dinner. And the colonel that is the one planning, like, my overall movements, they were like, no, you are not doing a dinner. Because if one person wipes out, then everyone wipes out, and then you can't, who's gonna run all the cases? I'm like, okay, well, at least they have their families here. They're stationed there. I'm the one traveling. All right, fine. So I'm in a hotel for the month and a half, and Thanksgiving Day, I'm eating like a fucking Pop-Tart, by myself in the hotel room, and I can't even go around to anyone else and like continue to try to boost morale. So, but the next day I was supposed to travel. So like I had my suitcase ready to go, like my toothbrush is out to brush my teeth the next morning, and then bounce and say goodbye to everyone and go to the next mission. And I have been waiting for this colonel to tell me what the next steps were, because I need to book the flight, I need to do all the top secret shit, the movement stuff. And I'm like, dude, he hasn't responded to my emails, he hasn't responded to my text messages. And so I called him, and this was on Thanksgiving Day. It's like, Colonel Alexander, I'm supposed to be flying out tomorrow. I'm ready to go. I just need the line of accounting number so I could book these flights. Like, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm leaving in like 12 hours. And there's a pause. And I hear in the background, his kids are getting ready for dinner. Like, I hear the utensils, like the fork, like the knives. I could hear them having a good time. They're celebrating Thanksgiving. And I was like, and so there was a pause. And he goes, oh, yeah, we could just worry about that tomorrow. And I was like, at that moment, I was the afterthought. I was like, I am busting my ass. I'm spending 200 days out of the year away from my family so I can do this mission for somebody else, and I'm a fucking afterthought? That was my light bulb moment where I was like, I'm definitely leaving, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I was with Britt, who is my lovely wife, who is in the back here. Britt, can you stand up? So this is Britt. Britt Monio, we've been married for a couple of years now, and she is an Air Force pilot. And if you haven't gotten to know her, she's a badass. She retires in a couple of weeks. And so I was like, Britt, I'm done. Like, I don't know what I want to do after I'm out of the military, but by the way, my views are my own. The views of my views do not represent the views of the DoD. Okay. So she was like, Allie, even if you don't do anything, you are so depressed. Like, we will survive off just my income. And I was like, dang, okay, you're right. And she had been telling me years after years, she was like, why don't you get your real estate license? And I was like, because I'm not a bimbo. Like, I don't, what? I was like, look at me, I don't wear heels. I don't like dressing up. This is how I dress up. I curse a lot. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And by that point, I was like, let me just try it. So I went from being a special agent to a real estate agent. And I've been licensed for 2.5 years. Sarah said 2, but it's now 2.5. No, I love you, Sarah. And I've done 88 transactions. And I've been focused a lot on my time. Because life is so freaking short. Like, I am done working 100 hours a week, for somebody else. I'm just kind of done. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was doing things the right way, focusing on the 80-20 rule, all of that. And okay, so which I'm going to get into. I've been featured on a couple of podcasts. Real Estate Rockstars. Hey! Okay. So how I used to spend my time when I first got licensed was like everyone else. Ooh, let me get a buyer. Ooh, let me try to get a listing. And everyone's like, oh yeah, listings to live. You want to get those sellers, listings to live. And I was like, okay, I kind of like working with buyers more, but yeah, sure, listings to live. So I spent my time dealing with like unpleasant cross agents because you all have dealt with them too. I'm like, my goodness, our goal is to work together. Why do you think that you being an asshole makes you a better agent? I'm not going to accept your offer, dude. You're a fucking asshole. Anyway, all right. But I was still active duty. So the first year of me being an agent, I was active duty. I was still traveling. I was still away from Britt, my family, like everything. And I'm like, I can't do this. And I understand the problem of what I had, but being in the military network, which is all we do, like in my specific area, which I'll get into later, but I just had too many leads to handle. And I know, like, boo, my gosh, Allie, too many leads to handle. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. I do not want to be showing homes at fucking 7, 8 p.m. And I'm over this. So I did the math. I was like, okay, everyone's telling me listings to live. Let me do the math. So this is just like a snippet of my last year's transactions in 2023. I wanted to categorize how many outbound referrals did I do? How many buyers did I actually help? How many sellers? So the blue are sellers, green are buyers, magenta or the pink, whatever, is outbound referrals. And I wanted to break down how much I was making per hour. Because at the time, that's the only way that I could quantify it. Because I didn't want to leave the Air Force yet. I'm still active duty. I didn't want to leave the Air Force yet until I knew I could make more as a real estate agent. Otherwise, maybe I'll just suck it up and continue spending all of the, all the holidays away from family. But this is what I'll get to what I found. So what this means is I literally looked at every single transaction I've ever had with a client. It's easier to do it while you're still in it. But I wanted to break down the number of hours, tally the number of hours per client, even the ones that do not close, because that's still your time spent, and find out how much I was making per hour. Because in the Air Force, as a major, I was making like about $100 an hour. Okay, great. I don't want to make any less than that. Otherwise, that's a downgrade, and I don't want to do that. So this is probably where you're going to be like, fuck that. I'm not going to be counting the number of hours that I spent with every single one of my clients in 2023. But I really urge that you do, because you might realize that listings may not be the way to go. Now, of course, buyer, the whole thing with buyers going on, my views are just my own. This is what's worked for me. So I would suggest looking at the hours. So what are some things that you guys spend with buyer clients or seller clients? Like, shout them out. What are some things that you spend your time on? Showings, consultation, offers, negotiation, analysis, research, emotional support. Thank you, because we're licensed agents, therefore we are therapists. So I broke it down. Yeah, buyers, sellers, and outbound referrals. This was my list. First of all, finding them. Acquisition. How long does that take? Hours driving, property tours, negotiation, communicating with the cross agent, all of that. And then my WSHTF is when shit hits the fan. Because shit is always hitting the fan, even if it's a little shit. And these are just some examples. This isn't my running total at the bottom here. These are just some examples of some of mine. But this is the math of what to do in case you wanted to do it. You guys might not want to, but you guys just listen to attack stuff, and you guys ask a lot of questions, so I figured you might want to. It's a really freaking easy formula. You add up all of the total of how much you made in GCI, categorize. How much did I make GCI with working with buyers, working with sellers, working with referrals? How many hours did I spend working with buyers, working with sellers, working with referrals? And then you divide it, and that's your hourly rate. This is what I found, which was my business in 2023. It's pretty similar to 2022 though. So I actually made the least amount working with sellers, but listings to live. And I made the most working with buyers, but buyers, I was spending a lot of time on. And outbound referral was right in the middle. I'm making about I'm making $419.03 working with an average outbound referral per hour, compared to the 269. Granted, I was doing the open houses again, so this is why I urge you to do the math for your own. Maybe if you're not doing the open houses, then maybe you're not really spending too much time with sellers. Maybe it's perfect for you. Listings to live. So this is what my Excel sheet looks like. It's not complicated, but I broke it down. I added up all the buyers, all the sellers, all the referrals, and where's the pointer here? This number here is the average, and this is gonna be a running total, so average time spent with sellers, running total for all of 2024, and same thing here. So this is kind of just an example, but I sanitized this. All right. These are the number of hours that I spent per buyer in 2023. 31 hours spent with each buyer until I get a closing. And then 36 hours spent with each seller. And 7.85 hours with each outbound referral. And I was like, I'm not doing listings. I don't want to work with buyers. So that is when I don't know. At that point, I'm like, I'm going to be an outbound referral agent only. I spent my first year driving people around, going to listing appointments, doing the research, listing presentations. Woohoo, this is so much fun. And I was like, no, I'm burning myself out. I don't want to do this forever. Again, focusing on my time. So a lot of people here will think, of course, what everyone else thinks. Yeah, but you're going to be making 25% off of an outbound referral when I could be making 100% if I'm the listing agent, 100% if I'm the one representing the buyer. And yes, that's true. But the number of, to be really nerdy here, how many times can I fit 7.85 into 36.33? How many outbound referrals can I do versus how many hours it would take me to close a seller? First of all, I don't do 25% referrals. I do 30. I do 30% referrals, good for 2 transactions, because again, I work with a lot of military, so they buy and they sell. So good for 2 transactions, and I'm on the group chat throughout because it increases conversion. Anyway, it's more. So it's not 4. I don't need 4 referrals to make one commission check. It's 4.6, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a big difference, and you get so much of your damn time back. More pros, in case I haven't sold you on this yet. I'm no longer restricted to Tucson, Arizona. I'm no longer having to just work in Vail, Arizona, or Marana, Arizona. I can now connect anybody anywhere. I can continue to work in my home, which, by the way, in case you guys don't know me, I never leave my house. I love it. I never even put a bra on. I dressed up for you guys today. And I love it. Like, that's what I do. I'm moving to St. Louis. Oh, God. I'm moving to St. Paul, Minnesota. And I hate the cold. So I can continue being an outbound referral and continue being a hermit, which I love. It opens up my schedule. And now I can spend more time playing pickleball randomly with my friends on a Tuesday. That feels fucking nice. Sometimes I do leave the house, but not too much. But the biggest thing is my liability has gone away. I no longer need to be arguing with these cross agents about like how to make the deal work and all these like just stupidities like when shit hits the fan. All that has gone away. And except for the emotional support. Emotional support definitely still there because that's on both sides, both with the agent and with the client. So I'm not gonna be answering the question of how you get referrals because it's the same way you get any client. And that's what yesterday's topics were about. Direct farming and social media and YouTube. Now that I've spent more and more time away from the military community since I separated 2 years ago, or whatever it was, a year? I don't know. I've started to be more heavy on YouTube, and it's been amazing. Like, thank you, Sam Cottle. Where are you, Sam? He just stepped out. Thank you, Sam. Literally, in my first 5 videos, I got 11 outbound referrals. And 5 videos, like, start. Please start. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing up in Minnesota. Here's an example of one post on one Facebook group that landed me 14 outbound referrals closed. I made about 38, I think, connections, but out of those 38 connections, 14 actually closed, and I bombarded this lender. Here it is, in case you want it. So, February 2023, I randomly came across a lender who, these like pop-up lenders that are like starting to get their name out there, so they have no origination fees, like they have the lowest points, like 1% lower than everyone else. I happened to catch PenFed on like their early side, and they were good. I vetted them, and they were good. I was like, okay, great. So with this one post, I got 14 outbound referrals, and it all started in this month, like February. So that is kind of hard to repeat, but if you can be on the lookout for these lenders that, of course, now PenFed does have origination fees, and they are not 1% lower than everyone else, but that helped a fuck ton. And of course, there's always those couple of people. There were 2 people on this post that were like, "Why don't you just name the lender?" I was like, "Because I'm trying to connect you." All right. Because that post, Facebook groups are money. So I was in, that was in like a Air Force officer, women in real estate Facebook group. And so everyone there is like PCSing. So I'm like, hey, I'll make the connection. So boom, Tiffany Kuhn and me and the client. Hey, client, this is Tiffany Kuhn. She works with PenFed. She's going to give you the best rates. And I stay on that communication. And if they happen to not yet be working with an agent, then that's where I slid in. Otherwise, great, you're already working with an agent? Awesome. Like, here you go. Here's Tiffany's number. But I'm not going to be in that group chat. Did that answer your question? Okay, cool. So this is the QR code to my just 3-tab spreadsheet. It's not overwhelming, guys, I promise. Well, I can't promise that. I don't know how you guys feel about math. All right. But all you have to do is just like fill in the yellow blocks. So, sorry, this is for my Instagram. So if you comment the word referral on any of my Instagram posts, spelled referral correctly, a lot of people don't. If you comment the word referral on any of my Instagram posts, I'll give you the spreadsheet. Super easy. But my closing thoughts are, going back to when I was spending Thanksgiving alone, eating a fucking Pop-Tart, like, and all the Christmases I've spent away, all the, Thanksgivings I've spent away. Life is so freaking short. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Why are you dropping all the shit that you're doing at dinner time, like with your family, to go drive somebody to an open house or to show a house that's not really even all that interested? So I didn't want to do that anymore. And now I've opened up my schedule. I want to say I'm a lot less stressed, but stress is kind of my nature. So, but it will reduce a lot of your stress. So I think there was one more slide after this. But the overall chat is, do not spend your time on someone else's mission. And I get, like, you're helping buyers, you're helping sellers, but at some point, buy that. I'm buying the 75% in order to just get the 30%. And it feels good. So just another outlook. But the best ways that I maintain to make sure that closes is I start that group chat with the other agent. It makes sure that the client doesn't ghost that agent, because if there's not a warm handoff and they're like, who is this? I really don't care. So I keep that group chat, and you'll be surprised, some agents just let it go. And you're like, what the heck? I didn't just give you a lead, I gave you a client, and you're gonna ignore them for 3 days? Okay, next, on to the next one. Maybe I'm savage, but whatever. So I know that I could have gone so many different directions in this, but I wanna make sure that I answer your questions. But that's it. I think this is, I forget. Scan it. Thank you so much. And the one thing I wanted to say is if you're going to participate in the book exchange, I think the one book that's out there that's not a personal development book or a real estate book or a sales book, it's a fiction book, and that's the one that I brought, because sometimes we just need a break, guys. And I would say just try it if you have any questions. Actually, first, are there any questions?
Where are you finding the agents that obviously from this community, but where are you getting the agents? I've referred some people and it doesn't go so well. So I'm just wondering where you find the good agents to refer to.
Super good question. My first step is to look within our 5 Pillars community, because we have some killer agents. Actually, 5 Pillars agents, raise your hands, because you guys are fucking, look at us, dude. These are killer agents to refer to. So 5 Pillars, it's our community within EXP. This is not a pitch, guys. Okay, please. And then EXP has a really, really big database. So we just go on Workplace. I'm like, hey, Utah, icon. Salt Lake City, icon. And then I interview them. But if you don't have access to that, or if you don't have a brokerage that's super nationwide or worldwide, then I would Google. But when I Google, of course, I'm looking for 5 stars. But I also don't want the one that has 149 transactions done in the last 6 months, because then they're just going to pawn them off to somebody else. So I want someone that's growing, that's able to take my client without pawning them off to somebody else. And I talk to them too. I'm like, hey, do I get the sense of the vibe? If they're a complete stranger and you don't know them, I usually refer them to 2. And I'm like, dude, whoever wants it more will take it. Yeah. Yeah.
She almost forces you to close them because she's constantly checking in, right? And it's not an intrusive way. It's like, hey, how's the transaction going? And I've been guilty of the guy that ghosted for a couple of days because I was here or something, I'm like, oh shit, yeah. So I gotta yeah, let's go look at a house tomorrow. But she's constantly following up in a professional, but also really friendly manner, just to keep her name in the transaction. And then also we've closed deals a year later, and she was like, hey, remember that was a referral? I was like, I forgot how I met the guy. Yeah, I do owe you money. So but completely just following up and doing it that way.
And when I follow up in the group chat and separately. Hey, client, are you please be honest, because it's for the client. Are you good with this agent? Hey, agent. How's it going with the client? Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm like, I'm not promising leads, but I don't just give leads. These are clients. These are military members that are ready to go. So, okay. Thank you.